This screencast is provided to share updates that were provided to intermediate unit curriculum coordinators during a statewide meeting held on September 17th and 18th, 2015. The agenda for today covers the major high points that were shared at that meeting. Those items will include Act 70 and 71, information on the current ESEA waiver, PBAS, Keystones and project-based assessments, and some discussion about the Math 24 game. There will also be a few things shared regarding the discussion points that curriculum coordinators and principals shared from across the intermediate unit constituent districts on a survey. Sally Flaherty from the department shared updates on Act 70, which is the Holocaust, Genocide, and Human Rights Violation Act. In the Act, the General Assembly strongly encourages school entities in the Commonwealth to offer instruction in the Holocaust, genocide, and other human rights violations. The State Board will conduct a survey of all districts following the 2015-16 school year. At this point, nothing is mandated. However, Sally indicated that if less than 90% of the schools respond to the survey, that they are not offering any kind of instruction on the Holocaust, genocide, and human rights violations, this may become a mandate. In November, on the 2nd in the Williamsport office and on November 3rd in the Canton office, the intermediate unit will offer a program provided by Echoes and Reflections on the Holocaust. This in and of itself does not meet the requirements. However, it does provide teachers with resources to embed this curriculum into their current instructional practices. The professional development that is mandated is provided on the guidelines of the Act. The intermediate unit will be providing to all curriculum coordinators and principals a screencast on the guidelines for Act 70. Sharing this screencast with your teachers or in an in-service situation or during a faculty meeting will meet the requirements of the Act 70 Holocaust, Genocide, and Human Rights Professional Development. More resources are found on the SAS site. The site is provided on this screen. You will have to be a logged-in member of SAS and go to Teacher Tools. Under Teacher Tools, choose My Communities and search Act 70. You will have to join this community and then you will have access to resources on Act 70. Dr. Joe Laciano from PDE provided the following updates on Act 71, the Suicide Prevention and Child Exploitation Act. Beginning in the 2015-16 school year, each school entity may, which means it is not required, but may provide appropriate child exploitation awareness education programs and incorporate such programs into a K-8 curriculum. Child exploitation should be included in the PD plan that is submitted through the comprehensive plan to provide 4 hours of training for teachers every 5 years. The second part of this act is the Youth Suicide Act, and beginning in the 2015-16 school year, each school entity shall, which means it's required, that each school entity adopt an age-appropriate youth suicide awareness and prevention policy and include the training in a professional development plan submitted through the comprehensive plan to provide 4 hours of training every 5 years. There are several options to provide this training. Several weeks ago, I sent a link to superintendents, curriculum coordinators, and principals for an EduPlanet course that was written in conjunction with PDE. The course is $10 per person taking the course, and you will need to provide this to any grade 6 through 12 educator. Another option is to check with your special ed director or coordinator in your district to discover if your district is a member of or a subscriber of Infinitec. There is also a suicide prevention training in Infinitec, which you may already pay a subscription for. There is very little concrete information about the ESEA waiver. However, I will share a few things that were discussed during our meeting. First of all, there is language from the waiver regarding the principal SLOs. Starting in the school year 2015-16, all principals, assistant principals, and career and tech directors are required to develop principal SLOs. Of particular focus will be strategies for incorporating growth measures into the principal SLO process and how measures can help to identify specific areas of focus for a principal SLO. Guidance will be provided as to how other non-academic measures such as attendance rates, discipline, data, etc. can help inform the principal SLO process and impact for student growth. Principals can also utilize their multi-year PVAS school and teacher value-added growth and diagnostic growth reports to identify areas of focus for their principal SLOs. In educator effectiveness, the issues that are addressed in the waiver also stem from growth. In the past, we have made it clear in our trainings that teachers could choose to have a mastery goal or a growth goal, or both. The federal government did not like the looseness of this language, and we are encouraging all teachers and all principals to include a growth goal in their SLOs, keeping in mind that growth is simply a change from one point in time to another. So a pre and post test would meet the requirements to show growth. Another part of the language that is in the waiver has to do with Act 82. So I share this as a sidebar conversation that PDE is addressing the issues with Act 82 and school solicitors who are still recommending to districts that they need to use the Act 82 forms for disciplinary action. Please keep in mind that this is not PDE's recommendation, nor is it the recommendation of IU17. If you are dealing with a teacher for an egregious act or one of the 8 deadly sins, you should follow your district's progressive discipline policy in order to discipline said teacher. The Act 82 forms are specifically to be used for observation and practice and the areas of achievement. Additionally, in the waiver, accountability at this point, SPP scores will not be published for schools without an 11th grade. So elementary schools, middle schools without an 11th grade will not have SPP scores. Previously, it was misunderstood that any school that did not have Keystone scores, but in all actuality, it's a cohort of 11th grade students and their Keystone data. So any school that houses an 11th grade will have an SPP score. Any school that does not house 11th grade will not have an SPP score. On an additional note, before I talk about PVAS and its coordinates with the US DOE waiver, guidelines are supposed to be distributed by this Friday on the ESE waiver that should clear up any questions about the waiver and its impact on our schools. The US DOE waiver, and as it relates to PVAS, there will be no pause on the use of PSSAs or Keystones for measures of academic growth for teacher-specific reporting. There is a proposed pause for the use of PSSA scores and Keystones in the SPP, as we've talked about earlier, but there is no pause for measures of academic growth for teacher-specific reporting, meaning that the 3-year average will not be reset. There will be no PVAS SPP score from the PSSAs. PVAS school-level measures from PSSAs and Keystones will be provided to LEAs on the PVAS reporting site, but will not be included in any SPP score. PVAS teacher-specific reporting from PSSAs and Keystones will be provided on the PVAS password-protected website. Just a reminder that PVAS student projection data is available in the PVAS website. The projections are provided to the PSAT, the SAT, and the ACT. They're also provided for AP exams in biology, statistics, calculus, English language arts, English lit, government and politics, psychology, and U.S. history. Another reminder that Peers is a free web-based educator effectiveness tool within the PVAS system. Data is pre-populated from PIMS, and for each teacher, the Peers system will automatically default which of the Act 82 forms is required. There will be webinars coming soon. There is a proposed and a predicted pre-population date of October 8th. I wanted to take a few minutes just to talk about Keystone's project-based assessments and just a small bit of information on CDTs. As we have discussed before, there is an issue in Pennsylvania with the project-based assessments due to the fact that we have thousands of project-based assessments that need to be scored and no one to score them. It's also a very expensive process to score the PBAs. More information should be following when the guidelines from the waiver come out, hopefully tomorrow. With that being said, districts are strongly encouraged to use your PVAS projection data to make decisions about keystones. For example, if all of your 8th graders are required to take algebra and therefore the algebra course triggers the keystone, it would behoove the district to look at the PVAS projection data. Let's say that you have 100 8th graders and you're going to put them all into Algebra 1 and therefore have them take the Algebra 1 keystone. If your projection data is showing that only 35% of those 8th graders are projected to score proficient on the Algebra 1 keystone exam, then you essentially are guaranteeing that 65 or almost 65 of those 100 students will require remediation for Algebra 1. They will require to take the assessment again and possibly be enrolled in a PBA. Again, I encourage you to look at your PVAS projection data and when making decisions about enrolling students in Keystone triggered courses. Rich Marichello shared with our group a very high correlation between the CDTs and the Keystone exams. There were high correlations in algebra, in English, and in biology, according to the CDT data. All of the correlations were above a 0.7. If you go back to your early statistics days, anything above a 0.5 is pretty high. I will share that data in an email later, but I'm just encouraging you all to consider using the CDTs if you're not already doing so. There was a representative from Math 24 at our meeting encouraging intermediate units to hold regional math challenges in preparation for the Pennsylvania State 24 Challenge Tournament to be held on June 15, 2016. I will be sending a survey out, and if your district is interested in participating in a regional math challenge, please indicate so in the survey so that the intermediate unit can provide representation to a training on November 11th. In a survey I provided you last week, many of you indicated that you would like to know what the intermediate unit is going to do to support math instruction in your schools. Many of you were involved with the MDC, the Math Design Collaborative, last year with Amy Martell. And as many of you may know, Amy Martell took a principal's job in the Towanda School District. In response to Amy's absence, we are training additional staff in the Math Design Collaborative. We have staff who will be attending an MDC middle and secondary level training on September 24th. On October 1st, we have staff that will attend a DIBELS math training. October 20th, we'll be training some of our staff in a Train the Trainer model for Math Design Collaborative for the elementary level. And also, Todd Moyer from our intermediate unit has also been trained this summer in concrete representational abstract, which is moving children from concrete to abstract ideas in mathematics. All of these items will be turned around into trainings for your teachers, and we will get those dates out to you as soon as possible. I appreciate your time and to listen to this screencast, and if you have any further questions, please feel free to call me or to email me. I will be providing links, PowerPoint, and other resources in this email that I'm also sharing the screencast. Thank you again and have a great afternoon.